Today's video, all about water. We're going to do a product review on the on-the-go portable water softener and on how to do the regeneration process for it. So if that's something you guys are interested in, stick around. Let's go do this. And you just pull back on this. Well, that usually works better. Let's try that again. Okay, hold on. Hey gang, welcome back to Why Wait. Today's video, we're going to do a product review about our water softener. It's called the on-the-go portable water softener system. And if you don't know, I'm Chris. Behind the camera is Megan. And if you guys are new to our channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get notified anytime we come out with new videos. Every Sunday, we usually do videos about product reviews, RV maintenance, that kind of stuff, and all the trips we take too. Okay, let's get started on this one right here. Okay guys, so why do we use a water softener on our RV, and why might be a good reasons for you to use one? Well, two reasons for us. One, when we bought the camper, this was just part of the package and came with it. And two, it's good to run a water softener. It prevents scale buildup, obviously reduces the hard water, it extends the life of your appliances, stops rust stains, good for your body, among other numerous things to run one. Plus my wife really likes how it feels in the shower. So this is the one that we have. It is the standard park model by On-the-Go portable water softener systems. They make a standard size, they make a double size, and they make what's called the, I believe, park model size. The only regret, of course, we did not purchase this one. It came with the camper. If I had to do it again, I would get the double. The double will last longer between having to go through the regeneration process, which I'm going to show you again later on. So you can usually get about 14 to 20 days out of this model before we have to do the regen process. And again, that depends on how hard your water is, how much water you use, how many people are in your family, and things like that. So you kind of just have to test your water and feel it out. Okay, I'm going to take you through our entire water setup and how we have everything running from the filters, connections, everything. 2 years on the road now, we got a pretty good system here, and especially if you're using one of these. You have to unhook it and hook it back up again every 14-20 days to do the regen process. I'll show you some tips and tricks that I do to make the process easier. Okay, let's go this way and go check out the hose and the water connection. Okay, right off the bat at the water stanchion, I like to use a Y splitter just to begin with. That way, if I ever want to just run a water hose to here and keep my water hooked up to the camper, I can just, turn this one off and on, not affect the water going into the camper. Going from that, right into a pressure gauge. If you guys don't have a water pressure gauge, it's one of the first things you should get as new RVers. I recommend as soon as you go to any site, first thing you do, hook up this, turn on the water, and see what kind of water pressure you're getting. And the good thing about this one, it's not just a gauge, but you can also adjust it. All you need is a flathead screwdriver, and you can plus minus to turn the pressure up or down depending on where you want to set it. A lot of people set theirs around 40, 45, kind of safe for the PEX piping inside the RV. I have mine turned up higher because it's going to go through a filter here, and then it's going to go through the water softener, and then another filter. So by the time it does all that, it's already down at a low safe level anyways. And this right here is the first filter. This is just an Amazon Basics water filter. Usually get these in a pack of 3, replace it about every month. I'll put a link down below to Amazon for all of this stuff so you guys can check it out and purchase it or whatever you need to do. So going from that filter is our first hose, and I use the 0G water hose, 50 foot long. I definitely recommend carrying at least one 50 foot. I have 2 of them. And make sure when you get the 0G hose that you get the blue one, which is the potable one, which is safe for drinking water out of it. Okay, so I just mentioned the 0G water hose. This is the second one that I carry. Highly recommend this water hose. I've used a few, been through a few. So far these things don't kink. They seem to last a long time. I carry 2 50-foot ones. And I like to keep my backup one just on one of these electric cord reels right here. and that way I can just store it easily, reel it right up when I'm done with it. So moving along, my connection from the water stanchion down my 0G hose goes right into this 4-way splitter. And I like this because I can have a hose hooked up to my black flush all the time. I can have it hooked up to the water softener, and if I want to just hose something down, wash the car, wash the camper, I can just hook it up to one of these. So this 4-way splitter is very nice. You can just control these knobs, turn which ones on, off you want. And coming down here, if you want to zoom in on this, Megan, this is a flow water monitor, and you hit the button, and as you can see, it shows you the gallons. When I go to turn it on right here, it's going to monitor how much water flows through it. Now I have this right now hooked up to the hose that runs to my black flush. That way when I want to close the black flush, fill it up with 20 or 30 gallons of water when I'm cleaning it to flush it out again, I know exactly how much water is going in there, and I don't have to, play the guessing game or worry about it overflowing in the toilet. This is also very handy for when you want to fill up the freshwater tank. You can just come by and look at it. Here it is, it's showing 1.5 gallons, and I know exactly how much water is going into my tanks. So that's a great little item, and again, we'll put a link down for that below. Okay, one thing I want to show you guys in here, which I really like, are these little brass L connectors right here. And I have one on both of my tanks, and what that does is instead of having your hose just come out and all that pressure from the hose bending on these, that takes all the pressure out, and I can leave these two hooked up constantly without having to worry about these coming loose. And it's almost the same as if our 50 amp power cord, we also have this same exact idea. Instead of having the 50 amp cord coming right in here and all that pressure hanging on it, bending down, this is also a nice item. So just wanted to show you guys that. Let's go ahead and move on to the water softener now and get into the regeneration process and show you what that entails. Okay, for the regeneration process, the only thing you need is just basic common table salt. If you have the standard park model like we have, it just takes one container, and this stuff is cheap enough to buy at the store. We get 8 to 10 of these sometimes when we go and just stock up on them. Like I said, we do this about once every 2 weeks. If you have the double park model, it takes 2 containers of salt. So I'm going to walk you through the process of what to do. And now let me just mention by saying, it's important to keep up with this and test your water with the water strips to see the hardness, because if you let this go too long without doing the regeneration process, eventually it basically kind of stops working and you have to almost start over and do a special regeneration process, which involves you buying a resin kit from the company, and that runs about $80. And I had to do that one time because, well, this didn't exactly come with instructions, and unfortunately the guy who sold me the camper, he wasn't doing it correctly, and he also didn't tell me about the resin that is located in here. So the first time I went to dump out the water, I tipped it upside down, was dumping the water out, and all this orange, I thought it was orange sand muck material coming out. Turns out that was the resin, which is pretty important for the process to make the hard water soft. I had dumped all mine out, so I had to rebuy a kit and recharge it, which was also an easy process. But to avoid having to buy that kit and do that, just keep up with testing the water strips all the time and do the regeneration process as needed. Another feature I have, and I have 4 of them, are these quick connect water connectors. It's almost the same as if you had a air hose and you could just quick connect it. These things are great. Instead of getting the wrenches out and tightening the connections every time, I'll show you how these work. I'll just take this and you just shut the water off to here, and you just pull back on this. Well, that usually works better. Let's try that again. Okay, so that you don't get splashed in the face with water, I shut this one off. Make sure you shut the one off here as well. Then you can use the quick connect, and they just disconnect just like that. I'll disconnect this one on this side. Now what's cool about the quick connects are, so that I can still have water going to the camper while I do this process, I can just pop this right back in here, quick connect it, turn it back on, and we still have water going to the camper while I do this process. So the first thing we need to do, you need to unscrew the top. And there's two ways we can do this. We can take it and just tip it upside down and run the water out, being careful not to dump the resin. Or you can leave the top on and just flip it upside down and have the water run out of the ends here. I'm going to try to just empty it like this. So you want to empty all the water out as much as you can. Now as you can see, I had a little bit of resin come out. So that's where I'm going to stop right there, because that is not what you want to see come out of your water softener. So I got most of the water out. I give it a little tap on the ground just to get that resin to fall back down. Take my table salt, and all you're going to do is just dump the whole thing into the top here. Now a lot of times I like to get a cup of water, warm water with me before I do this, because if you come down over here and look in here, a lot of times the salt starts to build up, so you just dump the water in there just to kind of clear up the hole so you can keep on pouring the salt in there. Go ahead and clean this top off of any salt, get it washed down there. We're going to put the cap back on nice and tight. Tighten that down. Once you got the container refilled with the table salt, put your lid back on tight, and you're going to open this up just a crack, just enough. Let's turn it down a little bit. You just want the water just to clear the side of the container, and that's about perfect. And you want to let it run like that for about 13 to 14 minutes for the standard park model. And you can go online if you have the double model or the what's called, I believe, the park or trailer model, to see how long you'd have to run it for that. So we're going to let this run for about 14 minutes. We'll come back, and then we're going to turn it on full blast, and you're going to let it run at full blast for about 3 to 4 minutes. And that'll end the whole regeneration process. We'll hook the water back up, and we'll be all done. Okay? While this is slowly running through its process, there's one thing I did want to touch base on. We had to buy a replacement cap, and what had happened was the cap we originally had plastic fittings, adapters on each end, and one of those ended up breaking. So the only way to solve that problem was to get a whole new cap, a whole new head. And you can go on their website, and they offer with brass adapters. So I went ahead and opted to get the replacement cap with the 2 brass adapters on the top. So that's something to look at getting if you buy one. Go ahead, I would recommend starting out with the brass adapters. That's included on the... Welcome back to Why Wait. I forgot what I was going to say. That was... Well, wait a minute. That's supposed to go 13, 14 minutes. I'm going to have to refilm that whole part. Recording? Okay.
Take 2.
Okay, take 2. Stick around and do a product review on the go water.